All right, what's going on, guys? My name is Peter Fabian, and welcome to the Peter Fabian Podcast. If you don't know who I am around here, which most of you probably will not, I am a 23-year-old. I live in Florida, and I'm a recent follower of Christ. I've recently been saved by Jesus Christ, and praise Jesus. I'm telling you right now, I really wanted to make this for those of you who have been questioning whether or not you want to follow Christ, because I was once in those footsteps. I was once one of those people that really got pulled by the Spirit and really wanted to be conjoined into the kingdom of Christ, but I was scared, and fear held me back for a long time until my testimony, which we're going to go over today. Today I'm going to be speaking about my testimony, what Jesus Christ saved me from, how I was saved by Jesus Christ, and I hope some of it can touch one of you guys, whoever's watching, and pull you closer to the kingdom of heaven. So yeah, I'm really going to get started with talking about myself, who I am, the background of who I am, and that will lead into, obviously, how I was saved by Christ. So I moved from the New England area, Northeast Delaware, the state of Delaware, at the age of 9 years old. And where I came from, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was a demographic of people that were super crazy, party heavy, you know what I mean? I was from a very good town of people that were just good, middle class working people, and no discrimination against any class of people, obviously. I'm just trying to give a good, broad breakdown that's easy to understand. And yeah, I moved from there down to South Florida, which was a much wealthier area. And I would say it was a norm there for parents not to really care about their children, let them out and do whatever they want, because we were in a small town full of really wealthy people. Do whatever they wanted, be out, as late as they wanted. And these kids were getting access to drugs, smoking marijuana, and drinking alcohol at ages of middle school ages, 13, 14. And that's how we grew up, and we were really unlimited to doing whatever we wanted. And that was a weird environment. It really exposed me to some things that were pretty horrible at that age to be exposed to, right? I wouldn't say I was exposed to that stuff when I was in middle school, the drugs. But some of my friends were not the greatest influences when I was in the 4th and 5th grade when I first moved, and I was exposed to pornography and other pretty terrible things, and self-pleasure became a habit of mine when I was around 12 years old until I was around 20 years old. So you have to think that I was corrupt, and all these women in my life when I was in middle school and younger ages were just driven by lust, and I didn't understand what love really was. I didn't really understand what a lot of things were, because I was around all these people that were just doing whatever they wanted with their lives. And that's a crazy influence to have at that young age, because it forms you. But yeah, and I would say after that, I got into some relationships that were completely lust-driven. I was in relationships that, well, most of all, were not compatible relationships. Maybe we had some chemistry and we were good friends and we got along, but they were just women that I found attractive and I thought were cool. And I also want to add, there's one part of me when I was going through this time that specifically extremely disliked myself. I was the most insecure I'd ever been, and this is usually an age where you are very insecure about yourself. You're becoming and growing into your identity, but me especially, I really disliked myself, and I hated my dark hair, and I hated my tan skin, and I hated everything about me, how hairy I was. I used to shave my chest and everything, right? TMI, but I hated myself, for lack of a better term. I strongly disliked myself. And that drove me towards liking people not like me, blonde girls, whiter people, or tanner people with blonde hair, or people that weren't my ethnicity. Because that drove me in a direction of, okay, you're not like me, I don't like myself, I want to be with you, and I can marry you, and we can have children and genetics that aren't like my own. Which is so skewed. That's the most skewed mindset you could ever have in relationships. You want somebody that compliments you, which I later learned from Jesus Christ. Thank the Lord. Praise Jesus for teaching me these things. You need to be with someone compatible and like you and that compliments you, and someone that will pass on what you have, right? So I was in relationships that were toxic, people that were not like me whatsoever. I love the arts. I'm an actor. I'm a musician. I love doing creative things like this, even like the podcast. And I was with people that were polar opposite of me. They loved sports. And I'm sorry to all the sports buffs out there. I strongly dislike sports. That is the most boring thing ever. And that's just my opinion. If you love sports, awesome. But I was with D1 athletes that were committed to D1 colleges. I was with people who wanted to go to college and figured that was the lifestyle you had to live, or they could. I had been told that if I didn't go to college, they could no longer be with me. Those were the people I was with. And I'm a strong advocate for not going to school and not playing sports and doing artistic things and doing what you love in life. And that just goes to show that when they would tell me things like that, I respected their opinion so much because I saw myself as so insecure, and I didn't hold myself accountable to my beliefs and my love, right? Which is really sad because at that age, you're so vulnerable. And I taught myself subconsciously to basically be lesser than everyone, no matter what. And if I thought something and someone else thought something, their opinion was always greater than mine, which is good to respect. But you also need to self-love. You need to have self-love and respect yourself and surround yourself with people who will support you and love you and be with you in your endeavors, right? Especially with Christ. Now, jeez, man, I was so broken. And the most recent relationship that I got into, was a little fling where I was completely disrespected. This was last summer, right? Completely disrespected. Would lie to me, tell me they wanted a relationship with me, right? And whenever I would ask them and be clear, hey, I want a relationship with you. I like you. I'm looking for a relationship. They'd say, yeah, I want you. I want a relationship. And they'd go off to school and they'd be sleeping with other people, ghosting me and not texting me, would just be having sex with me and using me for my body, right? Because they knew I was a good person and taking advantage of that love and that grace that I had. And that really broke me. They were just too scared to tell me how they actually felt about me, and they didn't want a relationship. And because I was so good to them and such a nice person, they wouldn't tell me the truth. And praise Jesus, he will find these people that have done wrong to me, and he'll help them in every way possible, right? I pray for these people. I pray for anyone who's ever done me wrong, because they are just as equal as I am in the creation and in the eyes of the Lord. But this taught me a critical lesson. And after this relationship, I was so broken. And I was so detrimentally lost. I had no way to go. And I figured, you know what? After years and years of no one being able to put in what I put in, there's no one like me on this earth that is like me. I'll never find someone that will treat me the way I want to be treated and love me the way I'm meant to be loved. And they'll never reciprocate it back. I just love everyone, and I'm always hurt. So you know what? I guess I have to join them. I have to be evil and become evil and join the evil, because good doesn't exist, and I guess I'm the only one. That is what I thought, which is so detrimental to think. At that age, I was 20 years old, which thankfully I stopped pleasing myself. I stopped watching pornography around these times because I realized how bad it was for me, and Jesus might have shown me that without me even knowing it was Jesus Christ. I had not been saved yet. But even then, I was having sex out of marriage. I was doing so many things that were bad for myself and surrounding myself with the wrong people and people who didn't love me as much as I loved them. And it killed me. And at that time, I started hooking up with women. I started talking to a bunch of women and not caring about them as people. I would just see them for their bodies and lust over them and want to do everything except be a good, loving person, because I lost hope in humanity. I lost faith in the world and in God. I did believe in God. I grew up in the church, correct? Since I was maybe till I was 7 or 8 years old. But I lost faith in the world. I wasn't even thinking about God anymore because I thought, this world's evil. This world is terrible. And man, I remember the first thing that came into my life where I felt hope again. And I couldn't explain to you the feelings I was going through because it's inexplicable, genuinely. This girl who I'd been friends with for maybe 5 years, I think we just hit 4 years actually of being friends and knowing each other. We communicated every here and now throughout the years, right? Talked about everything. She was my best friend. And I felt so lost. And I was talking to her again. And I said, hey, it's been so long. Like, how are you? How's everything, right? Something in me was telling me to talk to this girl. Something in me was pushing me towards her. I said, you know what? This could be possible. I need to do this. And she came home from school. I started seeing her. And just for further clearance, I remember having encounters when I was in college, when we had been friends for only a couple years, and people coming up to me, the Spirit coming to me and talking to me, hey, Bible study, you should come, just walking away, or coming up to me and talking about my situation. And I would text her and I'd go, this happened, I don't know what to do. And she would constantly push me and tell me to go closer because she had been saved already and knew that it was in me and the Spirit was trying to come to me. God was trying to pull me in. And I was too scared. And I don't know why I was so scared. And I stress to anyone out there who's feeling the contact of the Lord and Spirit pulling you in and people coming to you and being contacted by the Spirit to come to the kingdom, just go. Take the step. Because what's stopping you? What's so scary? And I'm here to tell you that I was scared, and once I did it, I wish I had done it sooner. The goodness of the Lord and the life of a godly person and someone following Christ is so much more worth it than being scared and not knowing. You need to trust me on that. If you're a person listening and watching right now, if you're contacted by the Lord, you need to go. Use this as your sign, because it will change your life for the better. And I should be your testimony for that. And you'll see why. I'm going to go in more depth. This girl, and she told me when she started hanging out again, and I said, I know the Lord is here, and I have this feeling that everything is horrible and the world is going to break apart, this and this and this and this. And I was in love with this girl the second I saw her again. I'm going to be so honest with you. I fell for this girl instantaneously. Right? Something about her, our chemistry, we had the most fun I've had with anyone in my life. We were so perfect for each other, and we started talking about things that we had never talked about even when we were best friends for years. And all these things were in common. And I was like, what the heck? This is too good to be true. There's no way this exists. Why is this person just in my life randomly? Something bad is about to happen. Right? But I was so in love with this girl. We kept hanging out. And I would talk to her about this. And she said, no. This is a works of the Lord. And I knew that. I said, something in me is giving me this girl. And we would talk about Christ. And we would talk about religion. And we would talk about Christianity. And she would pull me closer. She gave me a Bible to start reading, a student Bible. She would constantly push me closer to the Lord. Pardon me. And there was something I felt above me and in my heart and in my soul that was pushing me to be closer to this girl. I don't know what it was at the time. And this was real love, what I was feeling for this person. Genuine, unconditional love, unconditional care, excitement and chemistry. And we were compatible humans with the same family values and core values and strengths and goals and everything. She's an actor. She loves the arts. She loves all these things that I love. She's a singer, everything. She could care less about sports. She doesn't like country music like me. If you love country music, great, but personal opinion. We are so meant to be together. And obviously, one thing I want to say is no human is perfect. You should never search for perfection. Social media is destroying the world. Never compare what you have to things that you could have, because things seem perfect, but they're not. And what's perfect for you is as perfect as it's going to get, and you should never compare that to perfect in general, because that doesn't exist. Okay? But we hung out and hung out. I told her I liked her. She agreed, and we were skeptical because we didn't want to ruin our relationship, but we felt this pull on each other and this future that we had together, this compatibility. We knew right there, we have a future together. And we made it known. And we finally decided to date. Even if we were going to be distant and she was a few hours away from me most of the time, I made it known that, and this time I stood my ground and learned from my experiences. You're the one for me, and I'm going to do whatever it takes for us to work. Something in my heart and in my soul was pushing me, and I had no idea what it was until we started dating, and she went on a Europe vacation with her family, and we were hours ahead. I think she was 5 to 6 hours ahead of me. She was in Turkey, and I woke up in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 in the morning, from a bad nightmare. And that nightmare was every single person in my life, everything in my life was coming after me, trying to kill me, trying to chase me down and murder me. And I was so scared in that dream. And I woke up in a flash. And before my eyes, instantly, I saw an image of her in front of my bed, at the foot of my bed, staring at me in a flash, and vanished. And you know when you look at the sun in your eyes, and you close your eyes and you see that circle of the sun still in your vision? That's exactly what I saw. I saw her in my vision for a good 10 seconds, flashing. She wasn't there anymore. She vanished in an instant, right? And oh my gosh, the terror. I hid under my sheets. I hid under my bed sheets. And I picked up my phone because it was, 2 or 3 in the morning for me. And it was 7 or 8 in the morning for her. And she was awake in Turkey. I texted her, "Oh my gosh, I just saw you in front of my bed." And I sat there and thought. And this week and 2 weeks that we've been hanging out, I had never felt the presence of the Lord over me so heavily. And I hadn't considered myself a Christian or a follower of Christ yet, but this is what solidified me. And the devil had been pulling on me while we were talking and hanging out, like, no, this isn't your person. And telling me she's not perfect enough for you, or this and this, and stupid doubts that were in my head. He was trying to get to me because he knew where I was, and he knew I was in a dark place. Trying to pull me away from this person of Christ because he knew that this would solidify me in the kingdom. And you need to acknowledge that the devil and the evil will come after you at the times of success. And when you're going and doing things that he doesn't want you to do because you're going to be a follower of Christ and closer to the kingdom, right? And that's exactly what that was. I had the most doubt of my life. Well, not myself. That sounds horrible. But I had the most demonic presences, but also the most godly presence when I was the happiest in my life in this moment. And it takes a lot of wisdom and perseverance to understand that the evil is going to pull you down and that the goodness is going to spawn that evil and that you're on the right path. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're on the wrong path, correct? And sometimes new experiences and things that are new to you, I'm going to give you a great example. What I thought was my type because I was such a lustful person, and what I found to drive me towards women, I found a woman who I'd never even found sexually attractive in my life, and I instantly fell in love with her. And I've grown to find her physically attractive because she was my best friend. I never thought of her in that way, which is perfect. We had the friendship first. We had the bond first. And then that love flourished and it became erotic and beautiful. And now I desire her in so many ways. And since we're still dating, I have this desire for her and this passion for her, and it's amazing. And it really taught me that God knows the way more than anyone ever thinks they know for themselves. And that blessings truly exist in the world, and he will give you what's meant for you, and you should never doubt him. And as we've been dating, I've asked the Lord many times. I've prayed on it, and I'm here to testify, and I'm here to tell you that the Lord has told me that she's the one for me, and I'm going to marry this woman, that she's my wife. He's told me. And when the Lord gives you a person and gives you a blessing, and you no longer have to be like, this is good, is something bad going to happen? And you just have faith in the Lord's grace and his blessings and his goodness. There's no better feeling than that. There's no better feeling than that. And the Lord will never, ever shame you. He will never put harm on you. He will never do anything to you That's all evil. That's all the devil. And oh my gosh, what it taught me and how it made me feel to be like, there is good in this world. Finally, he's given me a good person to surround myself with, push me closer to this religion and closer to Christ, closer to Jesus. And now I have the duty of serving the Lord and thanking him eternally for this gift and this blessing, treating this person with perfection in any way possible, or striving to be perfect, even if it doesn't exist, for her and for Christ. Because who wouldn't do that? If someone just gave everything to you, you would serve them. You would give them your life. I had no faith in my life, and I gave Christ my life that day. The day I went to church for the first time after we started dating and after I started reading the Bible and this and asking her so many questions about that Bible and about Jesus because I never understood. I finally put my head down and accepted Christ one day. And I'm never looking back. And I'm also here to tell anyone that when you're not obedient to the Lord, you feel it. And these last couple weeks when I've been making horrible decisions and I've had struggles as a Christian, I've been depressed again because the Lord knows the way. Never doubt the Lord, and he knows better than you will ever know when it comes to the path of your life and what you should be doing and what you think is right for your life. Because if something feels right, that doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Your heart is deceiving sometimes. And you need to follow the Lord either way, because he's the right way. But I'm here to testify that blessings exist, and the Lord Jesus saved me from a world of evil, and where I thought evil took over everything and no good existed, and showed me the light. And I'm here to give my life to him because of what he did for me. And if anyone is watching, and you're hopeless and struggling with lust or porn and self-pleasure, or feeling that nobody in the world is good enough to give you the love you give them, and that you're such a good person and nobody's ever been there for you like that, put your love and your life in the Lord's hands and he will bless you. Just have faith and pray. Just have faith in the Lord, and whatever he gives to you is what he's meant to give you. Some people are meant to be single their whole life and abstinent their whole life. Some people are meant to be married and spread a family, married and not to spread a family. But God's way is always correct. You need to always remember that. And I'm not here to say that the life of a Christian is perfect. I'm here to say that the life of a Christian is better than the life of a non-Christian, and it's going to be harder because you're going to have the evil attacking you and trying to pull you away from the goodness of the Lord and the blessings of the Lord. It's going to be like two energies, a good and an evil, pulling on you at the same time. But that good outweighs everything. Right? That good outweighs everything. And I have so many scriptures in here that I could read right now that talk about loving the Lord and talk about how important it is to love Jesus and put your faith in Jesus, right? I think it's the most important thing ever to just put your faith in him. One of my favorites that I read this morning, my daily proverb, which I read, there's 31 proverbs, there are 31 proverbs, and I read one every day. On the first of the month, I read Proverb 1, etc. And I read 3 today, and one of my favorites in the Bible, trust in the Lord with all your heart, that passage in Proverbs 3. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing for your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. And that is the point. In life, you're going to think you understand and think you know the way for yourself, just as I did. But the Lord always knows, and you must have faith in the Lord, and whatever he's giving you is the right way. You can't be selfish, and you can't be in the flesh and the desire through the flesh. You must desire through the soul and have faith in God who gave you that spirit. And know that the way he's giving you is the right way. And I hope my testimony can help some of you watching, whether you're believers or non-believers. And I hope that can help you in your journey. And before I close today's episode, I'm going to pray. And I'm going to pray specifically for those who are watching, and I wish I knew how many people were praying for me in this moment, that the Lord will pull those who are watching that are not Christian closer to the kingdom. Put your hands together. Let's pray. God, thank you for this opportunity where I can share this to the world. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for all the people listening and watching at home and wanting to pursue you and gain a fire for you. And if there are any people out there, Lord, that you've been reaching out to in the Spirit or reaching out to yourself, trying to pull them closer to the kingdom, pull them in so hard that they can't deny it, just as you did to me. And I hope you can do that for them as well, Lord. Give them wisdom, give them discernment, give them grace, give them love, and show them that that exists. Bless them, Lord. Show them that your true goodness exists, God. And show them that Jesus didn't just die on the cross for no reason and completely died for their sins and came back to life for them. He defeated death and sin for them. No matter who it is, whoever's watching, show them the way. And I'm so eternally grateful for every human on this earth and whoever is watching this podcast. Show them love, Lord. We love you. We praise you in the name of Jesus. Amen.